Hi, this is Mr. Y. So this is a game that took place on the 7th of May, 2014, just yesterday, in fact. And it was between AJ and Julian. AJ had the white pieces, Julian had the black pieces. They played a standard two knights defense, sort of, I guess it was Italian that transposed into two knights. Bishop c4. Then we have bishop c5, castling, knight f6, knight c3, castling, d3, d6. Okay, so these are all normal moves that we've all seen many, many times. Bishop g5, and then Julian with the black pieces plays h6, trying to kick the bishop away. So AJ has a choice now of retreating or taking the knight, in which case Julian gets to develop the queen, or she can simply retreat her bishop this way, which is what she did. Julian pushed forward. I don't like this move much. Now the castle's totally open for the king. The computer says it's the best move. Who might argue with the computer? In any case, I don't like it. I think if you're a computer, you might be okay with it. But for us mere mortals, I'm not real thrilled with it. So she puts her bishop here. And then Julian makes another move that I don't like much. And the computer doesn't think much of it either. Attacking the bishop with the knight. So he's got the goal of taking this bishop and exchanging it for the knight. So he's got the bishop pair now, which is good. And then she has doubled pawns, which is good for black. And yet, I still don't think it's a good move. Well, it turns out there is actually a little tactic that AJ missed here. See if you can spot it. Give you a minute. You know what? You maybe should just pause the video before I show you. The tactic is based on the fact that this knight is potentially threatened by the queen. So if you just go here and then say Julian takes back this way, now you've won a pawn and you've got a developed queen. So it's a little thing, but anyways, that wasn't the way the game went, and not the sort of thing that I usually spot, although this is a good move. I actually like that, winning the pawn. You exchange knights and you win a pawn out of it. Okay, so but what AJ played here, she was worried about this knight coming in and taking the bishop, right? So what she was worried about was not being able to take back with this pawn because this pawn is pinned to the king. So she pushed this pawn here, unpinning this pawn down here. Which is okay. I think there's a better way to unpin the pawn. So does the computer. Holy cow, look at all that stuff. The better way to unpin this is simply to move your king here. And then you got your king tucked nicely in the corner. It's actually okay to have a king in the corner in the middle game. I wouldn't want my king in the corner in the end game, but in the middle game it's just fine. So here we are. AJ pushed this pawn, unpinning this pawn. And Julian went ahead and took the knight. That was what he was going to do. That was what he did. And then AJ takes back. Now she's got a nice open file for the rook, which I like. So knight takes d4 was what Julian played. Now this is the downside of playing this move here, is that now this piece that we looked at is being attacked 1, 2, 3 times, and it's only defended twice, so it's not going to survive. So Julian goes ahead and takes it with a piece, which is interesting. I think it's probably the best move, actually, keeping the pawn structure. AJ took back with the knight. Julian took back with the bishop with check. Now here, another interesting choice. AJ brought her rook forward. Now this is a mistake, simply pure and simple a mistake, and then Julian should have simply taken the rook, and then AJ takes back and she's down the exchange. Or she could do something else, because she doesn't need to take it just yet. she could do something. He could do something else. Like the computer recommends c6, which develops the queen. Another possibility is bishop e6, which I actually like. And this puts the hit on this bishop here. Now she has to decide what to do about it because it's undefended. So she can either exchange it off or simply back it up, or maybe come back in some other direction. In any case, you don't, once you have a pinned piece, you don't need to capture it right away. But what Julian did was really not the right move. He took this knight. Not sure what the idea was there. He just went through all the trouble of getting the bishop pair, and then he gives it right back. All right. So then Julian played a6. I'm supposing that's preparing this move, maybe attacking the bishop. I'm not really sure why he made that move. Queen f3. Now AJ goes on the attack, and this is what AJ does when she's playing chess. So queen e8. So she's got two attackers here. Actually, queen f3, let's go back 2 moves. Queen f3 was a good move. There is a better move, which is queen h5. And the reason that's better is it doesn't commit the queen to being the first attacker here, but rather it allows the queen to come in second or third after you get the rook piled up onto this pawn. Now you'll notice it's already, let's go ahead and make the move that she made. You've already got 1, 2, 3 pieces hitting this f7 square. And so Julian has to do something because he's only got the king and the rook protecting it, so he brings the queen here, protecting that as well. Probably not the best move. Probably the best move would have been, well, according to the computer, it's moving the king away. I would have done this, I think. Yeah, the reason I would have done that is it not only harasses this bishop over here, but also it opens up this rook to the defense of this square. So now you've got 3 pieces. Oh, well, actually, yeah, 3 pieces defending the rook. Interesting. Anyway, so Julian brought the queen over. AJ piled up the rooks, so now she's got this huge battery piling up on this pawn. Julian does b5, which is, I guess, the point of this move back here, like we said. So now she has to decide what to do with her bishop. She takes the pawn. Sort of pushes her into doing what she's going to do anyway. All right, so rook takes, queen takes, queen takes, rook takes, bishop e6. Finally, she gets the bishop out. I keep saying she. Finally, Julian gets the bishop out. Looks like the rook is pinned to the king, except it's the other color king, so it's not really. So AJ goes right here, rook 7 to f6, which is okay. It's putting an attack on the bishop, but now the bishop just does what he wants to do anyway and goes down and takes at a2. Better, I think, would have just been start mowing down pawns. You get something like that, and then Julian's going to take this bishop, and now you got your choice of which pawn to munch on next, depending on which one he moves. So anyway, I think that would have been the computer also thinks that's a more stronger attack than this. Because you're just retreating. There's no real benefit there. Rook g6 check, king h7, and then AJ brings her other rook up to here. So now this is like unstoppable at this point. Rook g8, some sort of defense. Rook takes h6 check, king g7, rook h to g6 check, king h8. Oops, that's not it. King h8. Rook h6 check. At this point, you can just take the rook. Doesn't matter. You're going to get there eventually, I guess. King g7. And then we have rook f to g6. And then the king goes out this way. And finally, she decides to exchange off rooks. She's ahead in material, so she's exchanging away material. Rook g6 check, wins the pawn. King f7. Take the pawn. Bishop b1. So now she's attacking she again. I keep saying she for Julian. Now Julian's attacking the c2 pawn, which can't go anywhere. It can't be defended. So that's over. But you know what? Let's forget about that. We're just going to march this down. Bishop takes. h5. And Julian pushes his pawn. Pawn comes down. Pawn goes up. Pawn comes down. And then we make a queen. All right. All right, a2. One last square. There's pieces in the middle, so the queen can't take it. So we're going to have to start making hay to prevent this pawn from queening with check. All right. So at this point, AJ missed the right move. Oh no, AJ made the right move. She went queen h7 check, and then king e6. All right. Okay, now here AJ missed the right move. See if you can spot it. Go ahead and pause the video if you need to. Find the best move. Did you find this? That's checkmate. AJ didn't find it. AJ went queen g8 check, which is probably the third best move. If you want to check with the queen, come in closer. Come in closer. This is a better move with the queen. And then the king's going to have to go here. And then we get rook g7, check. And then the king is going to be checkmated. If the king goes here, then the queen goes up here. That's checkmate. And if the king goes here, then the queen goes here. And that's checkmate. So, yeah, you need to come in closer with your queen checks if you can. If you can do this rather than this, you're better off. So the king squirts out, king d7. What do we have? Rook g7 check. I wonder if there was a better move. Nah, probably not. Rook g7, king c6, queen a8 check. This is the idea here, is forking the pawn. So that pawn is no longer going to be a threat. King b6. And she takes the pawn. All right. Bishop takes e4. Julian takes another pawn. Rook g4. Where's g4? Way down here. And then we have d5. Where's d5? Protecting the bishop because the bishop is being attacked. Rook h4. Making room for the pawn. King c5. I suppose attacking this pawn eventually. I'm not really sure why he went king c5. Queen a3 check. King c4. Queen b4 check. This is a nice in-close check. That's good. King d3. And what do we have? g4. Starting to march the pawn, perhaps, or maybe giving the rook an avenue for check along here. That's what I'm seeing. d4, attacking this pawn, I suppose. Not really sure. It's kind of late for anything here. Exchange pawns. Queen b3 check. And where does the king go? King e2. Queen b2 check. This is all not terribly interesting, I guess. King d1. Oh, now it gets interesting. King f1. I like this move. This is a neat move. Why is it a neat move? Because the queen is controlling these squares, and now the king, well, the king was back here a moment ago, right? King went here, and now is controlling these squares. So that's kind of neat. Now the king is boxed in. All we need is check. And AJ says, oh, wait a minute, I should have done the same idea, but I should have gone here, right? That would have been better. Gets these two squares as before, and the queen is still controlling these three. And now I've got room for my rook to come in with checkmate. That would have been nifty. But she didn't do that. So she went here, and then Julian went to d3. And then she goes here. And then Julian takes the pawn. Also prevents checkmate here. Alright, now the square is no-go. So king takes the bishop. We have d2. Doesn't really help much. King f2 goes back. Now we have the mate in one possibility renewed. Julian doesn't have any moves except to move one of these spare pawns, and AJ comes in with checkmate. So, interesting game. A lot of moves. Let's go back to the top. What was the interesting bit here? The interesting bit, perhaps, was this, attacking the bishop, totally busting your king defense here. We have the whole pinning and unpinning and revealed attack sort of thing going on. AJ unpins her pawn with that move, which works, but then we get checked again. Oh, she lost a rook, but he didn't take it. So instead, she, back here, she, instead of moving this rook, she needed to do that. That was the move. Again, instead of pinning her rook. Anyway, so she pinned her rook. He didn't take it. We have an exchange. And she piles up on the f7 square. Starts going after it. Look at all those pieces going in. Alright, then we do a little dance here in the corner. Finally exchange rooks. Okay, and now we just push the pawn. Queen. Okay, maybe it's not such an interesting game. Anyway. I like this. I like this little bit here. I wish he had gone to f2. That would have been cleaner, but you get there eventually. All right. Good game, Julian. Good game, AJ. I'll see you next week. Go play some more chess. Bye-bye.